goal is to help people to build their property portfolio. So yeah, I would say that most times our dream house is quite out of reach. Because HDB is meant to be public housing, meant to be affordable for the masses. Okay, from a lifestyle perspective, renting is very flexible.
Hi, good morning, Celestine.
Hi, morning.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yes.
Yeah. How are you today? You look great. I heard you just came back from holidays. Where did
Yeah, I actually went for a short trip in Malaysia, Ipoh and KL. Yeah, I had spent 2 nights in Ipoh, then KL one more night. So I think KL not enough time to explore everything.
Yeah, that seems quite short. I mean,
Yeah,
it's so near, right? Now,
Yeah.
and you can.
yeah, hopefully.
Okay, Celestine, how long have you been in this real estate business?
Close to 7 years already. Actually, I started in May 2017. So,
May
yeah, so we're
2017.
in May now. 7 years already.
Okay, so it's your 7-year anniversary.
Yeah.
7 years. So, okay, I remember the first time we met. That must have been your first year in your career,
Oh
right?
yes, I think we met in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time we met. We were actually knocking on our door. Yeah, back then we were staying in Punggol HDB.
Yeah.
And I actually really wanted to just.
I remember.
Until you introduced yourself and
Everybody else.
so until you said that you tell us our name, then I realized that you're actually the agent that my friend referred to us.
Yeah.
Then I started, hey,
Yeah.
I asked you, okay, look
Yeah.
ahead. Then, I think you never looked back since then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, we help us with 3 of our property deals and also some for our friends and families as well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much as well.
Thank you for
your
always
service.
remembering me.
Yeah, thank you for your good service.
Yeah.
And 7 years is a very competitive industry, and 7 years is a long time. Yeah, what made you join this industry last time in the space?
Actually, after I left the university, I went into stockbroking as a stockbroker. And at that point in time, I went into the industry having a lot of high hopes because I saw a lot of movies about how it's a very glamorous industry and there's a very lucrative, very lucrative. But when you actually enter into the industry, it's a different reality. So that made me think twice about what career path I want to embark on. And then at that point in time, my very close friend, she started out in this real estate business. And then she told me, why not just give it a shot? You're still young, nothing to lose. Just give it a shot. I take the exams, see where it goes. Yeah, then I took the exams, I passed it in one try, and here I am.
Okay.
Still here 7 years later.
Yeah, but 7 years is still a long time.
Yeah.
And even for normal other professional jobs, right? People tend to hop around, change industries, change companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure in this competitive industry, I'm sure you have your ups and downs. So don't mind if you share what is there a lowest moment in this career that you felt that you wanted to give up and
I think there are some cases with clients whereby I thought I mean it's a very steep learning curve. Every day we are faced with different challenges, and then there are different ways that we should approach the situation to help to ease the whole outcome. And sometimes things do not go our way, and then clients may get upset, and then they will say that it is because of our mishandling that resulted in the situation. But sometimes things are not within our control. And from all these things, I think is a lot to learn for me. All these soft skills, how we mitigate and navigate through challenges. Yeah. So I think every case is unique. There are some that if I had known what to do at a point earlier, then probably the outcome wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made
be
you
better.
so is there anything that made you carry on? What made you pull through all these difficulties? Is there a mentor that encourages you, or is it your own inner calling that you're doing the right thing that made you pull through this period?
I think I see this as a personal growth also because with every challenge I see things about myself, I discover things that I should be improving on or what I am good at. So I appreciate all the lessons that come along my way. And I think I strive to be a better person in every sense, not only in career. So I think with all these experiences, it helps me to build my character. Yeah.
So this is what keeps you going on in this industry.
Yeah, I think a large part of it. And also, I want to do the best for clients as well.
So which do you think is more important? Like, I think because of the recent property boom in Singapore, a lot of property agents are actually earning a lot of commissions. But as well, I think there's a soft part to it, right? I think you feel a lot of fulfillment and accomplishment when you have let's say a young couple find their dream house and everything. So does this soft aspect of this industry drive you as well?
Yeah. I think for me, it's a relationship that I aim to build with clients because at least for me, I want to be helping my clients through with their subsequent properties. It's not a one-off transaction for me. So I think this is the aspect that I want to grow the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you're doing okay, right? I mean, for us, you have really helped us with a few of our properties and you also help some of our friends and families as well. So I think, yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about HDB market first. Because since our fellows in Singaporeans, right, 80% of them stay in HDB. Okay, recently, there are some new categories in the HDB BTO flats, the plus and the prime HDB flats. What do you think is the impact of these new HDB flats on the HDB resale market?
Oh, okay. So right now, all HDB BTOs or HDB resale, even right across the board, they face a 5-year minimum occupation period. Well, with this introduction of plus and prime, it's under a more stringent control. So they have to face a 10-year minimum occupation period, double of what the normal HDBs would have. Yeah, so the plus and prime flats, they are located in more better locations than the standard flats. So places that are nearer to MRT, places in more central locations will be considered plus and prime. So I think in preparation towards this new scheme, there will be more demand in the existing flats in such areas because buyers would know that all these flats, when they buy into the resale, they wouldn't need to face a 10-year MOP in future. But if they were to wait out for the new BTO flats in all these areas, then there will be greater restrictions on them. So in this period before the plus and prime flats come into the market, I expect that all these existing flats will be
prime and plus. Yeah, more demand now.
Yeah, they might
did
more
the
in demand.
the influx of this plus and prime HDB flats coming in. Okay, understand. How about this new policy, right, whereby private property downgraders, they're only allowed to buy resale HDB flats like 15 months after the sales of the
That's
private
right.
property. Yeah. And also not just any HDB flat, they can only buy 4 room or smaller. Right? So how is this going to impact the HDB resale market? Yeah, as well. I mean, now we have 2 policies that's going to impact the HDB resale market. How is this policy going to impact the HDB resale market specifically, in your opinion?
So any private property downgrader who are under the age of 55, they have a 15-month wait out. And then after the 15 months, they are free to buy any resale HDB flat. But for those that are 55 and above, they can buy immediately, but they can only buy 4-room and smaller. So there is a gap in the demand for the 5-room flats because there is a portion of all these 55 years old seniors who cannot buy the 5-room flats. And all these group of people, I think you and I would agree that they are supposedly more cash rich because they would have already sold their private property and then they got a big lump of cash to put into the next one. So if there is a segment of these people that are restricted to buy 5-room flat, then the demand for 5-room will be much lesser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, will that make the 4-room flats extra in demand?
I would think so, yes. Actually, yesterday I was reading an article that came out in late April, 27th April, I think. It was saying about the HDB volumes and the prices for the last quarter. And then a part of the article was saying that there is a greater demand for 5-room flats. And then the writer attributed the demand for these 5-room flats to those downgraders. But then I
4-room
thought
flats, you mean, right?
5-room,
5-room,
yeah, they wrote in the article that the 5-room flats were the demand came from the downgraders, which made me scratch my head. It's not.
Yeah, but
in
they are not
line
allowed to do
with
that,
policy.
right?
Yeah, so sometimes articles when it is not, we have to really take things with a pinch of salt and really use our thinking and our knowledge to analyze this whole article. We cannot just take it from the face value.
Yeah, I would think that the
Yeah.
4-room flats will be very much in demand.
Yeah.
That's the next best thing after
Yeah.
5-room, or the
Yeah.
next biggest flat after 5-room flat.
You're right. So I would say that maybe probably yes, the demand for 5-room is good now, but the people who were buying all these 5-room is not the downgraders, it's all those HDB upgraders who sold off their smaller HDB to buy this 5-room. Because as you said, there is more demand for 4-room flats now, which would drive up the prices inevitably, right? And then if 4 rooms is here, 5-room is here, then the 4-room owners will
It's a boom for the 4-room flat owners.
Yes.
Yeah, because now they can sell to the private property downgraders at a high price.
Yeah.
And they can buy a 5-room flat at a lower price because now it's in lower demand.
So that's my theory, that's my thinking. It doesn't match what the article says, so yeah, that's my theory.
Yeah, I mean,
It might not
that's logical, but maybe the market has not reflected
Yeah.
that yet.
Yeah. Because we don't know what data that the writer has taken to write this article. So I did yeah.
Yeah,
Might not be accurate.
that seems out of, that seems like contrary to what the government is intending to do with this policy, right? They're actually trying to curb demand, but rather than doing that, the demand actually increase for the private class. So
For this quarter, right?
but anyway, it's still a brand new policy, so I think the effect is yet to be seen. Yeah, maybe we have to take a look, monitor 1-2 years down the road, see how it goes.
I think this policy came on because the market really grew too out of hand since the COVID times, and there were so many $1 million HDBs that we see. So I think this policy is helping to curb the number of $1 million flats.
Yeah, talking about $1 million flats is evidently on the rise. Not just in the number of $1 million flats, but the quantum of the price of the $1 million flats has been increasing as well. I think the latest record is like 1.58 million. And I think just last week there's one in Toa listing for $2 million.
Yeah.
And apparently there are people who are interested.
Already?
Yeah, apparently there are people who are interested who have sent inquiries.
They're just maybe curious to go and see what
maybe they want to see how does a $2 million HDB flat looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think this trend is sustainable, or whether is it going to be a new norm for the HDBs in this kind of central or more mature estates?
I don't think it's a sustainable thing because HDB is meant to be public housing, meant to be affordable for the masses of Singaporeans. And hence, that is why when the market grew too much since COVID time in 2020, in 2 years time it grew about 70%, and it went up higher and higher. The government got a bit concerned. That's why they put on all these measures to increase the restrictions on certain groups of people who are more cash rich, who can afford to put full cash into a HDB. And when it's full cash, they don't need to be bothered about any valuation that HDB gives, so they can pay a premium on all these flats. So that is how many $1 million flats came about.
But I think percentage-wise, even though it's like, I think every year there's been at least a few hundred $1 million flats being sold, right? But percentage-wise, I know you know the data right now, but percentage-wise, if let's say we are talking about $1 million flats being sold in a year, is it still a very low percentage? Off the top of your head, do you think it's It's a very low.
I think if you look at percentage wise, it seems acceptable. But if you think into the technical part, like, how are people going to afford this $1 million, especially those working adults who need a loan from HDB to be purchasing all these flats. They are restricted by the mortgage servicing ratio when they try to take a loan from HDB or the bank. So to be able to even uh, uh, get a 75% loan to buy this HDB, their income levels have to be very high. So it's not very possible, lah. It's not very sustainable in that sense.
Yeah. So HDB prices, right? I mean, besides the $1 million flats, I think generally it's still on a rising trend. Do you anticipate any further government policies to curb these prices that are going, that prevents the prices from going too high?
Since the policy in 2022, the growth of the whole HDB market in general hasn't exceeded what we have seen prior to the Queen measures. In fact, it has slowed down a lot more. So at this point in time, I don't think it's a call for concern for the government to put on extra measures. Yeah. But if the Toa Payoh flats sell at $2 million, then maybe.
If that deal is successful, then all the surrounding neighbors will be thinking, okay, that means you will try to at least sell close to that price. And that sets a precedent, right? Yeah, so $1 million HDB is no longer, it's no longer something that's out of the norm. The new norm will be a $2 million HDB.
I don't think that will happen. I highly don't think so.
Yeah, because if you're selling $2 million on HDB in Toa Payoh, I think with just a little bit more, you probably can top up and get a condominium. You think so, right?
But also, I recently brought a client to see a Toa Payoh condo that is nearby where the $2 million flat was. So all the asking prices of the 4-bedroom units in that condo were also much higher than the last transacted price. I think all the Toa Payoh owners are really anticipating the Toa Payoh Lorong 1 launch that is happening, I think, in the second half of this year. So they are benchmarking their price to the new launch price.
And they're benchmarking to the $2 million HDB as well.
No, the $2 million came after.
Came after that.
Came after I went for the viewing. So I guess the HDB owners are jumping on the bandwagon also. But
that's not a good sign, right? That's a sign that's a sign that the prices will still keep continuing to go up.
Yeah, but I mean, they can ask any price that the owner wants. Doesn't mean that there will be any takers. So there may be some interest to view the property, but doesn't mean there will be a successful offer.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's the private property right now? I mean, nowadays when you go to all those showrooms, right, for the new launches, you can see that there are a lot of people there. Yeah, and some of them are really selling like hotcakes. Yeah. So what do you think is the outlook for private properties in Singapore?
I think certain developments with good developers with good track records, they have a strong following of customers, and those are the projects that you see move off the shelves very quickly in a new launch. But I do not deny that the market has a lot of choices now and supply. So I think developers are in a position where they need to price their units reasonably such that the market can absorb and such that the market can buy all the units within 5 years, because developers, if they do not sell their units in 5 years, they got to pay a very hefty tax. Yeah.
So do you know about the recent Sentosa condo?
Yeah,
they have a huge price cut, right?
Yeah.
And that is not a new launch.
It's a
very old, it's a pretty old condo. So meaning the developer has already paid the ABSU bonus.
I think back then when they owned this piece of land, there wasn't any ruling about ABSU yet. And then it is not uncommon in all these core regions like Sentosa, even in Orchard area, that developers hold on to their units and then they rent out the homes in over a span of years.
Okay.
Yeah, so they will time the market and then they sell it again in future. Yeah. So some people tell me
So
that
clearly they didn't time this very well.
maybe
Because they
they
are
see
selling at a
something
discount, right?
maybe they see I think on whether it's a discount or not, we have to really calculate the numbers. So first and foremost, on paper we see that they sell at 1,006 plus 1,007 is very cheap for Sentosa. It's such a prime expat area, right? But I think if you want to get technical, you have to look at what price they buy the land at, what is the legal cost, what is the break-even cost, and then we know what kind of acceptable PSF is it to be selling for them. And then not forgetting there is a lot of tenancies that happen over the years, so there's rental income for the developer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so taking all this into consideration would then tell us whether the current sale price is actually a good deal or
Yeah,
not.
because
Yeah.
from what I read, I think they will all step up within 1 or 2 days. It was 65 minutes. It's like, 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
And we tend to think that all these luxury
Mm.
properties, right, they tend to be bought up by the foreigners. But apparently it was not. Mostly,
Yeah.
almost all of them were bought by Singaporeans.
Yeah, that's right. So even with the ABSD, the 60% ABSD on foreigners, I think the market is not that impacted. Yeah.
Interest rates are also set to be high for at least the rest of 2024.
Mm.
What will it mean for the real estate market in Singapore if it remains high for at least this year and next year? What do you think?
I think right now people are more cautious in this high interest rate environment. But it's actually if you think about it logically, when people are more cautious, it's a good time for you to explore what is a good buy and opportunities in the market, because you don't want to be joining the horde of people rushing into the market to snap up properties. Yeah, for example, if the market is very hot, everybody look into the new launch, and then the initial launch is very oversubscribed. When you go in on the first day to do the balloting, you might buy out of emotions and out of your fear of missing out without any logical thinking. So I think with the high interest rates now, there is unsold units in all these launches, so it's good to take your time to go around, understand the projects properly and make a sound decision. So, and if you think about it, if you enter into the market now with a high interest rate, 4.2% interest, and then the interest slowly falls down to more lower levels and acceptable levels, you are prepared for the high installments right now. And then when the installments lower is a good thing for you. But versus those that entered the market when the interest rates were very low, right now they are suffering because they were not prepared for the jump.
Yeah, but interest rates it's not just high only in this year, right? It was already high last year and even the year before. I think it started in 2022. Yeah, but that was the time when the property prices also went up by a lot. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense sometimes, right?
Sometimes I think it's a lagging indicator or something.
Yeah. And also because of COVID, I think there was a lack of supply during that.
Yeah, there's a pent-up demand that has slowly eased up over the years, I think.
The resale market, we've been talking about the new launches, right? Yeah, resale market, we have this impression it tend to be of better resale value because the new launches, they bought the land at a higher price, they sell at a higher price. So is it true that resale private properties are really a better value?
I think for resale, you got to really look carefully, because resale, when you buy and you want to take a loan, you are bounded by the bank's valuation that they give to this property. So sometimes, I feel like there is still a gap in the market right now, because certain sellers, they are still not in tune with the current market situation, and they think that it's still a seller's market. But right now the reality is the market has slowed down, and those sellers that are asking very high price, they might not get it lah, because firstly the valuation cannot match, and secondly buyers, they will be shopping around because there's more choices.
So when you mean that the market is slowing down, means that when after you list your unit for sale, it takes a long time for it gets
Longer time.
longer time, and also the number of viewers I assume is lesser than what it used to be.
I think for certain locations, units still move really well.
Like example,
Those that are more nearer to MRT, that are priced correctly, I think the units can move well. But if the owner is looking at a premium, then the unit will be sitting around for a while. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the new launch prices, developers have to price it more reasonably. So, which means that there might be a narrowing gap between the resale prices and the new launch prices. So, doesn't mean that resale is always of better value. Sometimes you got to see what price the previous owner has bought in at and what is the potential. Yeah.
How about the rental market? It seems like it's getting softer since the beginning of this year.
Actually, since last year, it has been slowing down. In fact, yeah.
Okay, do you have any idea or what do you think are the reasons for the softening of this rental market?
Last year there were a lot of condos that received their TOP, so there is a huge supply of units flooding the market and up for rent. So I think that is one of the major factor that caused the slowdown in the market because tenants got more choices. If the pool of tenants is just this much, it didn't change, and yet the units available are so many, it means that each unit will receive less attention.
Okay.
Yeah. And also I think there has been some shift in the employment these days because lately we've been handling a few break lease cases. So I think people are getting sent back to their own country, and then they are giving up their unit, so there is a supply in the market again. Yeah.
Okay. So it seems like it could be still soft for some time. You think so?
I would think so. But certain areas still move really well. Yeah. Those
Like-
that are near MRT.
Okay. So again,
Yeah, convenience.
yeah. So again, I think no matter whether you want to rent your property or to sell your property, near to the MRT seems like it's like a no negotiation kind of criteria that we are looking for, right?
I wouldn't say it's no negotiation, but I think it helps to some extent. Yeah, in terms of convenience, which is what tenants are looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think as a buyer, as a property investor or own stayer, the most important thing to consider is still the entry price. So it doesn't mean there's a MRT you can overpay for the.
Like, is it really very difficult to find a property that's near the MRT nowadays? Because there are so many MRT stations nowadays. Yeah. So it is a default. It almost becomes a default that the property must be near the MRT. If not, right, then you are not just an average property. That means the property is actually below average because most properties are already near the MRT. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but in view that, people always assume that property prices are going up, right? Should a young couple rush to buy their dream home as soon as possible so that they can avoid paying a higher price later because they keep thinking the prices is going to go up?
I think that no matter for your dream home or for any other property, the price will go up over the years. So your dream home might not be the most attainable if you are younger. But I think the most important thing that one should know is to get yourself invested in the property market early so that you can slowly build up your pot, and then you can move into your dream home more easily. Because with the down payment and the mortgage payments in your current house, it might not be the best house, but it helps you to save up your
It's like enforced saving, right?
yeah, your
It's like
cost
enforced
savings that help you to build up to your dream house. Yeah, I would say that most times our dream house is quite out of reach. So importantly, everyone should know that you should get yourself invested into the property market early so that you get a foothold in the market. So treat the down payment and your mortgage payments as like a forced saving that helps you build up your savings for your future property. And no matter what house, it's just going to get more expensive. So it doesn't mean that you have to buy your dream home straight away. It might take you a few rounds of buying and selling of properties, then you can reach your dream home. Yeah, so it's important that every step you analyze the property well and know what exactly you are buying into, what is potential, so that you don't get stuck at any one property. Yeah.
And also, I think a dream home could be different for a person at different stages of their life.
Yeah.
So let's say a bachelor or a single person may want to have a bachelor or bachelorette pad. Yeah, but once they're married, then they may want a slightly bigger. Married with kids and with no kids, yeah, requirements may also be different.
Yes.
And eventually, when they retire, their requirement may also be different.
Yes.
So I think the dream house, as the person grows older, they may also change the idea of what their dream house will be. So so I agree with you. It's not wise to go for your dream house right away because it has to suit what you want at the point of time, at the stage of your life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's this growing group of people, especially the younger Gen Z crowd, right? They prefer to rent instead of buying their own property for their own stay. Okay, this concept is also recommended by Morgan Housel, the author of best-selling book, The Psychology of Money. What is your view on this? To buy or to rent?
I think from a lifestyle perspective, renting is very flexible. It helps you to experience different places, explore what suits your lifestyle, what you like. So from that point of view, it makes sense to be renting. But I'm a professional in this industry and my goal is to help people to build their property portfolio so they get a more comfortable retirement in future. So I would say that renting is purely an expense because you are not holding an asset and you're not paying towards that asset that will help you to enable you to cash out from in future. So renting, you're just paying the landlord, and helping them to pay off their house, in fact. So from that perspective, is not advisable. I wouldn't advise that. Yeah.
I think again, it comes to the stage of the person's life, right? I mean, of course, if you are single, it's very easy to move around from one place to another or even to another country. But once, again, when you have kids, you will prefer to be settled down in one place, and that's when you want to buy that house that's suitable for you. And that is preferably as early as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And that being said, also, yes, people traditionally will want to stay in the house that they buy, especially with families. But now we are seeing more and more people accepting the idea of buying a house that is good for investment and then renting in a place that you really like. Because sometimes the place that you really like to stay in is not a house that will give you the best investment returns. So they do it this way to get the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And talking about investments, right? There are a lot of people in Singapore, they are doing the sell one, buy two strategy when it comes to property investment. This is, I think, mostly applicable to couples who sell the existing, maybe their very matrimonial home. Could be HDB, could be a condo. And then they will decouple and buy one each for themselves.
That's right.
Okay, one presumably for their own stay, the other one is for rental and to sell for capital appreciation later on. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think of this strategy? Is it a sound strategy, and what are the risks that one has to take note if you want to embark on this property, property upgrading or property investment journey?
I would say that before any transit between any properties, what I would do for clients is I would do a very detailed financial calculation so that they are very clear of their financial standing down to the last decimal. And I insist on this because I do not want people to sell their house without a clear plan in mind. So if the numbers that we have calculated says that is comfortable enough for them to be embarking on this sell one buy two journey, then let's go ahead. If they are comfortable with it, then we can do it also. But if it's looking like it's very overstretched and there is no reserve funds for each property, then I might tell them to reconsider and maybe consider buying one own stay house under both names right now instead, then make plans for another smaller property in future. Yeah.
So it's more important to secure like a shelter or rooftop over the place first, rather than thinking of investments straight away.
That's right.
Singapore home prices are being pushed higher due to foreign buyers. Myth or truth?
I think foreigners will usually buy into areas that they are familiar with. For example, like if we go to a foreign country, we are also going into the city area where everybody is talking about it. It's popular among foreigners. That's why we are familiar with. So it's likely that we will consider those houses in the city first. So same for Singapore, there are a lot of foreigners, foreign ownership in the central area because that's where they are familiar with. If you look at the outskirts, areas, the demographics of the condos, the ownership is mostly Singaporean, if not purely Singaporeans and PRs. Foreigners stand a very small percentage in all these outskirts, properties, ownership. Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's fair to say that foreigners drive up the prices for masses of Singaporeans. I would say only in the central area, but where majority of Singaporeans stay in the outskirts, it is not that much affected by foreigners. Yeah.
Okay. Some people think that freehold is better than leasehold. Is this a myth or truth?
Yeah, I think the tenure is just one of the factors that people should consider when they look into a property. It's not the only thing that one should look at because it also depends on the location, the entry price, and then the layout of the unit. But most importantly, in any property purchase is the entry price. Is it fair? Is it reasonable price at this current market? What is your exit strategy? All these have to be considered, not only the tenure. And there are some freehold properties that I will not ever recommend to clients from a sound purchase point of view. And then there's also leasehold properties that I do not think are a good buy. So it's not a definite factor in your property decision. It's one of the many factors that should be taken into account. Yeah.
In your opinion, what are some of the important differences when deciding to buy a property for your own stay and for investment?
I think for own stay, there's an emotional aspect that you have to fulfill. It has to suit your lifestyle. You have to like it. It is to your comfort. But for an investment property, it should be a purely logical purchase. So I always say that you cannot reconcile both the investment and own stay aspect. You have to give up one aspect. Yeah. So, for example, there could be a road-facing low-floor unit in a condo that is the best price, is the most reasonable price as compared to the other units that are available. So if you're own stayer, you might consider that you do not want to be facing a noisy road, and that will pull you back from committing into this very sound purchase. But for an investment point of view, it should be a no-brainer to be buying this unit. Yeah.
What are the most popular type of properties right now? It seems like the bigger units, right, like the 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, or even 5 bedroom, they're getting more popular and the prices are increasing more than the smaller units, like 1 or 2 bedrooms. Why do you think this?
I think ever since the COVID lockdown period where we are all cramped up in our houses, after that we are seeing a greater demand for spaces because people appreciate a bigger space more after being cooped up at home. So yes, in general the bigger units are more in demand right now. But because everybody when they buy a house and they take a loan, they are restricted by the TDS or the total debt servicing ratio when taking a loan. So in today's market, it's still a quantum gain to some extent. That is why in some new launch condos, you will still see the smaller 1 and 2 bedrooms moving off the shelves very quickly. Yeah.
Okay, lastly, Celestine, if you have to give one piece of advice to a young couple who is buying their first property, right, what would it be?
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, I think it's important to get invested in the market early because youth is on your side and that is when you can earn the money. So it's good to be putting that into good use to make your money work harder for you to build up into your more ideal property in future. And another thing to take note as a young adult, do not be restricted with the mindset that your first house must always be a HDB. Because I know that a lot of people want to make use of the grants, but sometimes it's also important to consider the timeline and the horizon because HDB versus a private, we are looking at very different timelines and what you might deem as a cheaper option to go for now might not serve you in the longer run because you'll be tied down at the HDB for a long time. So you're wasting a lot of good years that you could be using to move in. That you could be using to build up into a better property. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. Very fun and interesting. And thank you for your valuable insights on property market. Yeah, because I think that is something that a lot of Singaporeans, especially young Singaporeans, are looking forward to. It's probably their biggest purchase ever in their lives.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very important decision. And I think all these pointers that you give will be very helpful. Once again, thank you. Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Let's do this again. It's fun.
I had fun though. Thanks for having me.
Yay.